Pat Robertson got a question about bulimia, anorexia, and suicide. He was actually making a comment about the daughter of Frank Page. He's the president of the Southern Baptist Convention's Executive Committee. And, you know, unfortunately, she committed suicide, and he wanted to do some commentary on that, and here's what he had to say.
Why do kids kill themselves? Teenagers, it's perhaps the most prevalent cause of death among teenagers is suicide. I think many of these automobile accidents are actually death by cars. But few people want to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, our children are at risk. They're bulimic, there's anorexia, there's all kinds of demonic games they played. It used to be Dungeons and Dragons, they got some new ones now. But the pressure on them is just incredible.
What? Wait, are you blaming bulimia, anorexia, and suicide on demonic games? And did you just call Dungeons and Dragons a demonic game?
Well, there are dungeons and there are dragons. I mean, it's, I like the old 1980s reference. But I like that Pat's caught up a little bit, that he knows that it was an old school reference.
I know.
But he couldn't come up with a single new one. He's like, you know, World of Warcraft or something? No. He's like Dungeons and Dragons and the other demonic games like Monopoly, where you're buying and renting people's houses. Sorry, what are you so sorry about? Maybe that you're demon possessed. Okay.
Scrabble.
Yahtzee, what's that about? Okay.
I want to get...
Who scrabbled up all the words? Satan! Okay.
I want to grab a drink with him and wear a wire and just like record all of the madness. Yeah.
And especially the things he would say to you. Because you know he's a perv dog, right? So,
perv dog, I've never heard that phrase.
Well, that's because I just made it up, but it's fun, right? But I love the random, like once you lose sight of logic, then everything's fair game. I mean, we're connecting bulimia with Beelzebub and connecting that to Dungeons and Dragons.
It's just there's no connection there. I mean, sometimes he says things and it kind of gives you an insight into what his political ideology is, you know, what his ideology is about like gender roles and like societal issues. But like this just doesn't make sense at all. Like there's no logic or rationale behind it.
Like I remember the old school Halloween stuff. Okay, all right, it's it's the devil's holiday, you dress up like a witch or something. I get it at least. What bulimia has to do with your dexterity score on Dungeons and Dragons, I just don't know. Actual Dungeons and Dragons, slight reference there, even though I didn't play it. I'm the only man in America who was not allowed by his dorky friends to play Dungeons and Dragons because I was too dorky.
Ugh, unbearable.
Okay.
So unbearable.
All right, and by the way, you want to know what's really the real Dungeons and Dragons of today? Game of Thrones.
Game of fucking Thrones.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Pat Robertson comes out there and he'd say, Game of fucking Thrones, Game of fucking Thrones, demonic possession. I'm possessed by Khal Drogo.